Well, hello, folks. Top Gun here with you, and I got a good one for you. Crypto going to zero. I know, things look pretty bad. No, crypto's not going to zero. It's not Armageddon. The markets aren't going to zero. Yes, it's getting bad. And yes, there's more room for crypto to crash. So we're going to have a look at the market charts and talk about a little bit about what's been going on. So, in the market, Jerome Powell has announced his 75 basis point hike, not a full percent point yet. So they're up over 1% finally with all these little irks, but they're nowhere near crushing inflation. Because of that, there is more pain to come. The market has been hurting pretty badly. I like to have a look at the EWA, just for a moment, the Australian index, because it never got quite as overinflated. So it hasn't had as much pain as the rest of the market. I do find it kind of interesting how Australia has been insulated from a lot of the pain, but recently took a whack. All right, so I do have things mapped out. We've got the NASDAQ trying to trade today a technical rally, but it's bad, folks. We've got crashing all around in the Dow Jones. The volatility index is on the rise. And the dollar index, it is actually just amazing how hard this is fighting and staying up. I can cross this line right out, crush this, and it is continuing its upward trend, which is amazing considering how crappy the dollar is, but it is better than most other currency out there. I even have the euro dropping compared to the dollar. That is just painful. So again, looking at this, we've got more pain in the technical sector. It is not a risk-on mode. Tech stocks are feeling the pain, getting crushed. It's not fun, folks. Not fun for them. So what do we got going on in Bitcoin? Keeping all that in mind, because we're going to have a look at the technical analysis on Bitcoin here. So we got a double top. So I'm using both tops to try and track long-term trends here. So I've been a little liberal for where I cross on this other top, try and map the current downward trend. So there's some room for interpretation. But this was my long-term projected trend down. But why have I got these sharp numbers? Let's have a little closer look at what's going on with Bitcoin, because it's seeming to be the lead indicator for risk in the crypto market. And it is going to drop much lower, but no, it's not going to die. It will survive, just like it always has. So here I've got it marked where we have kind of fallen out of the trend that I have established for long term. We at least call this data point, this data point, this data point, and cracked. So 3 is pattern. Not just 2 is a coincidence, is what I was using, but we cracked out of it in here. So I could move it down a little bit more, but I'm leaving it open for the bull flag pattern. So what are my thoughts here? This top line, not really relevant, so we'll make it a lot less visible. So also, right now, these are basically our long-standing trend that I'm using. Your trend is your friend until the end. So is this the end of this trend? Yeah, I'm marking out. There's no chance right now that we're even worried about this line, because what's going on here is we've got basically 2 directions in the mean term, and I will draw these out for you. So basically, the way I see it is right now we're facing this current. So actually, I should make that bright, shouldn't I? Make these current things very bright. Let's make it. There we go. It stands out. This is our current line of resistance that we have to break. And the line of support, which was a previous line of resistance that we broke. So now it's a line of support. I'll make this nice and bright so you guys can see what area I'm talking in. This is our current little struggle fight argument. Now, it has 2 main choices in this argument. It can test it a little longer, but basically, the way I see it is Bitcoin right now, just like before, has an option to flow within this bull flag as it asks any buyers, any buyers, any buyers, and tries to resist cracking below 20K or 1950, where basically there'll be huge liquidations. Michael Saylor's positions will crush and will probably drop the next leg down. So for right now, my current outlook is either we continue this bull flag as the market rallies to make just enough money in on the stocks to keep them from crashing lower, or in on Bitcoin to keep it from crashing lower, or as we're looking at this bull flag pattern, if we don't have enough energy to even get the buyers to hold off this liquidation, we're looking at a crash along this resistance line straight down here. So this weekend is going to be a little telling for which direction we're going to be maintaining. Now, if we at least hold steady, asking for any buyers, there'll be a little bit of room for the rest of crypto to do its thing. If this crashes, we're going to see so much more pain into next week through crypto, through Ethereum, through everything else, because we've had a lot of things going on. What are some of the things that we've had going on? No, I'm not married. Interesting topic, right? It's not alimony we're looking at. But yeah, so first off, Binance freezing Bitcoin withdrawals. All right, Binance has temporarily paused Bitcoin withdrawals on the BTC network. Meanwhile, you can still withdraw Bitcoin on other networks. This is due to a stuck on-chain transaction. That's 4 days ago. But that kind of stuff, it's interesting how that stuff 3 days ago is still happening. It's interesting how that stuff happens when the market's crashing and not when it's going up. This is, rumor-wise, to me, seems like some liquidity issues going on. And we've got Celsius. Celsius has completely stopped all of its Celsius crypto. There we go. Celsius crypto. Oh, it's not coming up. Celsius freeze all transactions. Yeah. So there we go, transaction freeze, and being investigated by multiple states because it hasn't stopped. There are some rumors that in conjunction with this freeze, that Celsius was dumping a bunch of Ethereum to try and raise liquidity. I have not done a wall chain analysis to track down to see if this is true, but it would seem to support why Ethereum has gone down 50% while Bitcoin has fallen 33%. These are some painful things that have gone on in the market. Also, not on my normal watch list, but let's take a look at USDD. This has been one of the hot topics. So, okay. Let's have a look. Am I doing compare? Oopsie. I didn't want to compare. Sorry, folks. Okay, there we go. Change the chart over. Let's have a look at USDD. All right. Take a look at it in terms to USDC, and ouch. Normally, it holds its peg pretty well at 99% with little dips. Little dips down to 99.3. Ranging closer at 99.9, nice. But then, ouch, USDD has started losing its peg. Oops, that's a little frightening after the Luna event, which I have talked about on this channel. Basically, the stablecoins are not properly backed, and during this kind of market crash, when people actually come a-calling for their money because they need it, because they're swiping those credit cards up and down because the consumer strength is not intact. They're turning to store brands. The fluffy puppy indicator, where pet spending went down early in the year, and then followed by less spending at the strip clubs on the girls. And continually, spending has been reduced and reduced to more and more necessities, with gas prices spiraling out of control. Gas is U.S. oil, is how I mark inflation and track inflation in our economy. And, oof, it's still out of control. As long as it's piling up, inflation is out of control. It's that simple. And the trend is your friend until the end. And until the Fed really raises those hikes, we're looking at a lot more and a lot more pain. So these markets get a lot more scary, and shorting opportunities seem to be presenting themselves in certain things. So now we had a look at USDD. What is it? Sorry, give me just a moment, folks. I keep forgetting the name of this one because I wasn't even interested in it until it had problems, because it's just more signs to me about what's going on in the market. But I have to double check the name on this one. Yeah, Neutrino, I think that's the one. Neutrino USD. Is that the one I look at? Is there a recovery going on here? No, it's not what I look at. Sorry for the delay here. Make sure this is correct. So I think we're going to look at Tether. Okay, so it is fighting to keep its peg. I'll give you, it's doing better than USDD, but these serious dips testing it, and as painful for days, it has been struggling. This is not a good sign in the markets. A lot of room for a lot more pain when the actual exchanges are starting to go under for liquidity issues as the market crashes, because they didn't have enough liquidity on hand for what they should on the books. That's pretty scary how much that happens in business. So who's to crack next? Who's to cave next? Who's to topple? Who knows? Just like the dot-com boom, a lot died. And I know every 4 years crypto has a bear cycle. 98% of crypto will die. The same thing's going to happen here, but a little worse. It's not going to kill crypto, but instead of 98%, let's start thinking 99, 99.5, 99.9% of crypto going to die. Pulse chain, well constructed. It's going to do fine. We're going to be fine. Ethereum, it's not going to die. It is going to continue to thrive for its use case. Same with Bitcoin. Those are going to be fine. Pulse chain, when it launches, is going to be epic. Built so well. Binance, having some liquidity issues on Bitcoin. It's a network. It still has its use case. It's still cheap. I don't think it'll die. A lot of scrutiny, maybe some laws passed, a lot harder to access. Could happen. Will it die? No, but more room for pain to happen? Yeah. Now, we looked at Bitcoin, looking at other networks. Let's stick with Ethereum first, how I have these marked out. I have some larger ranges. I'm not interested in the day-to-day movements of Ethereum, but the trend is your friend until the end. And I marked it back into orange, the long-standing trend. Try and make this nice and pulse colorful for you guys, because Pulse chain will be coming. So I got the greens and the reds. And, I forgot the purple. I got blue, but the orange and yellow, whatever. Anyway, point is, the orange is our long-standing trend, the one I'm marked from the double top. Previous resistance points that become points of support. So unlike Bitcoin, even though it's had a more severe drop, it has stayed inside its trend and is still just barely holding on to, because I can adjust that for the data point. As you can see there, it's at the tip of the wick and we're within the trend. So we're still within the trend. This is good. This is positive. This is more argument for the bulls that we have more time to gather steam stay afloat if Bitcoin doesn't crash and actually gather a possible rally. But as you can see, Ethereum's been tracking with Bitcoin the same kind of behaviors. So most likely this will test through, but will we stay in this trend? Will we have less dropping than Bitcoin at this point? Depends on how much Ethereum is leveraged for Bitcoin, right? Depends on how many liquidations can be happening. This is a tough time, folks. So right now I have a steeper trend, which isn't an all hell breaks loose, but if Bitcoin does go to all hell breaks loose, I believe the steeper trend may be a marker. Now it's interesting in correlation, so Bitcoin might start fighting into the bull frag and then crash based on Ethereum's movements. This is a little bit of a hypothesis I've got to look at as I'm learning to track bear market here. I'm not sure entirely. But at this point, the action is getting interesting enough that it's worth keeping an eye on the 4 hour. Of course, Ethereum, like I said, there's not a lot of action. There hasn't been a lot of rebound action. I mean, to go from 1700 to 1900, we have maybe a 11% increase there. That's the kind of trading windows that are open. That's not a lot when you look at the network fees and the spread to buy in and buy out. It's not very tempting for your small fry people that are running out of money. So there's still a lot of downsizing, and I think that Bitcoin could actually drop below 11K, depending on how the markets behave over the next week. How Bitcoin handles, whether it goes into more bulk frag testing or straight drop down. Because Bitcoin's next marker on my support line after it cracks this 20 grand, we fall all the way to 12. That's a nasty drop of support. There's no real resistance or lines of support in there. And we've got a lot of liquidations, a lot of leverage on the Bitcoin network. So it does not look good, folks. XRP, still, it has not even thought about breaking its long-standing line of resistance in over a year. I mean, Hex is getting back into that, but as a network, I don't know a lot about it. I know there's some interest from people I know that get into it, but as you can see, I haven't done a lot of mapping on it. Networks tend to survive. But I have no optimism about a technical rebound or anything in XRP. So basically, yeah, I have seen a lot of pain, and then I look at Hex, and call me Michael Saylor for all you want, but I have marked the crap out of Hex. Oh yes. I'm doing a lot of tracking because I own a lot of Hex, relatively speaking, as I'm a very poor individual. So I've lost a lot of money on Hex. Yes I have. And would I still buy more? Yes I would. I'm that kind of crazy. So the trend is your friend until the end. I've been tracking the long-term standing resistance. And funny enough, how much of this chart I had drawn before this started getting filled out. So I've been tracking this, and it's getting, to me, to look healthier. Rounding out a little bit, there has not been a firm reversal signal. No strong buy signal. But I'm pretty good at calling temporary bottoms. And this weekend, I'm starting to feel like there's actually weird room for a technical rebound. Maybe not much, but this is feeling like a bottom. We've got maybe this leg down to test. Like, we'll get into the 4 hour and actually look closer at this. But how have I marked these? We can see these previous highs and lows as we climbed the chart. We're back into a territory, and I've marked the tops of the spreads that we've had. So the green are lines of resistance. The red are lines of support. And I made them thicker the further away they were, the more reasonable area we're trending in. So the trend guiding us through these support and resistance lines basically has been spilling out its regular pattern, which does, to me, indicate we've got a little room over this weekend. Still step down. But then when we break this, are we going to keep going down? Really? I mean, I can't see the market, and Hex, like, why would anybody be able to buy Hex when everything else is crashing? Funny enough, you look at the amount of holders, the amount of liquidity, like, maximum pain is pretty close to in for Hex. But in that, could it still drop 50% from where it's at? I mean, this red marker line I have is at at a cent. I wish a dollar. At 1.5 cents. This purple one is extremely low, and below that, that's zero. All right, we've hit a lot of flushing out of the system. We started our bear market early, and the chart has been, to me, very healthy. Because even through all this market, you see all those flat lines. I pointed out on Bitcoin, just no room to trade up, no bounce. It falls, and the dead cat bounces. The dead cat rolls sideways, asking for buyers, and then another dead cat drop over and over and over recently. It's lost any tradability since April. April, May, June. Oh, that's weeks of nothing good. Months, nothing good. Now, X has had a very interesting downslope, but when it dead cat bounces, it dead cat bounces. And then you can't see it for that, but we wicked down and we bounced up. Like, to go from 3 cents and fight back up to 8, that was more than a double, a 2x. Still a lot of health and a lot of fight in this community. And as we're consolidating and getting more healthy, that is very consistent, but it refuses to crack this line of support and drop below it. And we keep finding new and new lines of support. So I'm thinking we're going to see a bit of a reversal pattern in here. And all-time highs? No, but some more sideways action, some tradability. I think that Hex is a very healthy chart. Now, let's get in there and have a real decent look. Because what goes on in the market is affecting Hex. And I'm not saying that I even am buying right now, but I am keeping a close eye on it. So let's switch over to the 4 hour. Get zoomed in. Alright. So in the 4 hour, alright, it does look like a bottoming effect through here in the 4 hour. We are still under the moving average and bottoming out, but the curl up, the RSI has been oversold, and it is just starting to curl up again to come up and test this line. So I think we could test this by this evening, tonight. Whether we break it and go up to something new, I don't think so. So probably a bounce, leg back down. We've got a lot of interesting movement to go. Like, I want to say Hex has all this room, but there's not a lot of money out there, but there's a lot of rich people in Hex. There's a lot of community that saves powder in the keg. I'm even working, and although I'm buying store goods, I'm thinking about buying Hex. There's a lot of crazy people in Hex that really believe in it because it is better Bitcoin and much, much cheaper at a huge discount. If you believe in Bitcoin and Hex is better Bitcoin, 20,000 and crashing, or 3 cents and possibly crashing, but a lot of room to grow. Oof. I mean, I've taken a lot of pain, I've taken a lot of hits, but Hex will not die through this. It hasn't been hacked, it doesn't have any liquidity issues, it is completely immutable and completely governed on DEXs. So there isn't the issues to access it, sell it, as long as Ethereum network runs. This runs. Even if Ethereum goes away, Pulse Chain's coming, and Hex will be on Pulse Chain. Your Hex will be there. It will have a future. So even if there is more pain to come, even if it could drop down to 2 cents, you could lose 50%, at some point a spike up is coming. And Hex started its bear market before everything else. Started shaking everyone out. So as pain still has to come to Bitcoin and Ethereum, Hex should run out of pain before them. as it started its bear market before then, and it has a pretty healthy chart, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say about it. Like, this chart continuously fights back, very round, fluid, buy and sell. Yes, we're in a bear market. Yes, it's going down, and has been for quite a while. We're very technically oversold, and we could stay oversold for a while. Bitcoin could crash, everyone's fear levels could rise more, but this is at a point where if enough Bitcoin starts crashing, we could see capitulation. People try out Hex out of desperation. Like, money is fleeing in panic, but it's not just disappearing. Like, inflation is draining it out, and then panic is draining it out. Panic have their pockets full. They're looking for somewhere to put their money. I still have optimism about Hex. That's your hoping for the day. But as the markets crash, it would be very, very insane of me to not recognize the maximum pain. The fact that it has room to move in and trade in these channels. But the further down it goes, the more sideways I think we'll see, and the more rounding. I do not believe we will crack below this line of 1.5 cents, regardless of what happens in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Which means I think that we are at worst 50% from our bottom. However, Bitcoin, and that's to give you an idea that we've dropped 92%, and I'm talking about a 98% correction because the market might be so bad. And I think that the same could even happen to Bitcoin. So 11K is an 85% correction. A 90% correction, that's 6K. And a 95% correction, oh, I didn't even mark it on here on Bitcoin yet, but a 95% correction, yeah, we're talking about 3K Bitcoin. We have not seen 3K Bitcoin in a long, long time. Well, let me even zoom out to such possibilities on a 4-hour chart. Here we go. This is the line I should mark where I believe Bitcoin may actually fall to. This is a 95% correction, folks. This is some maximum pain that the Bitcoiners would freak on my video. I would be surprised if I see some serious hate. And this is why, because I believe Bitcoin could fall this long, that we could see so much more pain in Ethereum and BNB. And if it drops this kind of low, yeah, Hex could, that's what would cause Hex to come down. It's 50%. If we still lost almost another 75 to 80% of current Bitcoin price. Ouch, right? Ouch. But that's what I mean. There's a lot of pain there. I mean, still a lot of room to short Bitcoin. But that's the maximum pain that we're talking about below the 11K, the 85% correction that's got to happen. We've got room for more pain to fall all this way. Do I think it'll happen that rapidly, that steeply? Heck no. At some point we'll crack that point of resistance, but probably not until the next line of support, if that falls down, which means here, 12K. Trade and start testing lines to try and come back. So hopefully we get the sideways bull flag action and we don't see the utter complete collapse of Bitcoin. But I do have a song on TikTok called Blame Bitcoin that I did a better rendition than I sung on here the one night. So yeah, Bitcoin right now has been where stock market's been looking for risk on, and everyone's panicked. The fear's in, it asks for buyers, and they're not coming. There's more pain to come because Bitcoin is a commodity, a store of value, and there's no use case in the recession other than the store of value, and it's losing value pretty quickly. So it's not going to die, but there's no rally coming. There's no huge save coming until all the pain is in, basically, and until inflation is under control. Bitcoin is in huge trouble. And Hex is a better Bitcoin. has a lot, but it's taken the pain in. We're already at the mass correction. And notice, I'd like to actually point out that although I'm not using this, we have to bring that in. We cracked out of our long-standing resistance, which was really healthy, and then the market went kind of sideways on us. So we redrew that line. It's been remarked. Had to move it out there. But that's already an indication of the bear market slowing. We're starting to shift this line. We've created a W pattern. Oh, Hex likes those. We're making another one, but it's going to be a lot more sideways. We're building, folks. And I do think that it's going to do well as Ethereum prices drop. Even though Pulse is now, what's technically happening? Gas fees, technically, through the price of Ethereum dropping, are dropping. And I think Ethereum still has a lot of pain to come, a lot cheaper gas prices, which might mean some even better opportunities to buy Hex coming. The millionaires and billionaires, I'm not a financial advisor, are made during a bear market. And I don't know completely what I'm doing, but I'm learning quickly. And yeah, Hex feels like we're in another area. Now, I'll say, I have not been good at calling tops for you, because let's have a look at this Hex price chart. And I've said where I got in November 10th. Oh, I bought right here on that red wick. I felt that a bottom was in when we were coming in. I was right, but I didn't realize when to call a top, so I wrote that down, and I had to learn more. Do you know when I bought more Bit or more Hex, folks? Would have been right here on this red dot on December 12th. I bought more, and I rode her up, and unfortunately, I got emotional. I'm not gonna lie. I bought right here around Christmas, and it did go up just a little bit because I was getting ready for the Pulse X sacrifice, but FOMO, everything got me. I thought, oh, it's going to go a little higher. I got wrecked on that decision. The emotion got to me, and I really started learning. But, funny enough, you know where I bought again? Right here. Yep. I bought right here again at 17 cents. Just before it rode up. And then I bought again at 13 cents. Funny how I knew it was about to go up. And, I grabbed some 10-cent Hex twice. Oh, I was feeling very vindicated. Oh, and did I call out about here? We were going up? Yes, I did. And did I buy a little more? I did. But I never sold. I never took profits. That was my proud thing as a Hexagon. Oh, this pain. I felt it. Okay? I'm coming from a place where I understand I'm not just talking out my butt because people paid me to say stuff. I have felt this pain. And I have not felt a good buy flash. Except when it fell down here, I had no powder in the keg. I knew it would bounce back, and I didn't get to enjoy that. Because at this point, I finally learned to take at least some profits. 10%. You don't sell half on a double every time, okay? But 10% on a double or 10% on a 10x, great ideas. Take some profits out. It leaves you with some powder in the keg to take advantage of the next drop, as I had no powder in the keg to take advantage of this because I had not been taking any profits. This is what I learned about my money. I'm not a financial advisor. So the complete in of hold no matter what. I mean, the idea is to accumulate, and so you want to hold the majority, I'm thinking, for myself. But yeah, taking a little bit of profits is always a little healthy. So I would have had a little more money to play with because I'm smelling it that this line, this yellow line, I don't have any more marked. Okay? Notice this is vague out here. I had lines just sitting here waiting to close them in to see where they're going to sit. I knew it was going to fight this pattern. But after this, even if Bitcoin goes down and Ethereum and we crack down to the bottom of this bull flag, I'm feeling a surge coming out of this one, a good 2-3x rally trade. What are we at bottom yet? I don't know. Can I see the future? Could things go sideways and could I be wrong? Could be. I've had a pretty good track record for buying the bottoms. I'm not feeling emotional today, but it's not flashing by me just yet today. Got to see what this weekend does. Got to crack this yellow line before it actually says, now buy me. Means, yeah, I lose out a little bit of the gain. Not trying to buy right away, and that's time in the market. But you guys at home can get TradeView and track it along with me. It's pretty easy. TradingView.com. You can see the URL up at the top. And you can go yourself, put in Hex USDC in the indicator at the top. And once you have the Hex chart, all right, it won't look like that. It'll look like this. But when it does, you just draw a line from the top of the most recent peak to the top of the past peak there, the highest past peak to the most recent one, all the way down, and think that's our resistance line. We're looking for a green impression on the MACD. The RSI should be at least indicating upwards momentum, if not oversold momentum, and we should be cracking that line of resistance over top maybe the next day into we have broken it for sure. We're not going to fall back down. And at that point, we finally have a good buy indicator that there might be a little rally. A good 50%, 100% gain rally. And maybe I'll be taking some profits. Maybe I'll be buying. I don't know. I can't see the future. It's just what the tea leaves are indicating. Some things I am looking for to say, yeah, time to buy again. And this time, take a little profits off of that. All right. I will always be accumulating and upping my bag of hacks. But from this point, being in a bear market, I'm going to take a little bit of profits until I feel like we've got a good reversal signal that we are out of the bear market and have finally entered into a bull run for hacks. So I hope this has given a little hope to everyone and that you realize a little bit of what's going on. But yeah, until we have higher unemployment rate, higher Fed rates, and we see more dropping. Ooh, that's nice to see while I'm talking. All right, the Top Gun flop. Yeah, die, oil, die, go down. Oh, of course, it just stops right there. But no, this is good to see. This is good to see. We want to see this. Maybe the market is responding to the 75-point base hike. There's been a lot of pain. We should need more, but the tsunami of layoffs is coming. The unemployment's coming. It's not there yet, folks. This is just a happy little indicator. I'm looking for some excitement. But anyways, I hope you've enjoyed a little dose of opium and enjoyed my take on the market. I have to go to work and earn some money so that I can participate again in the market. Thanks for tuning in, and till next time, stay frosty, folks.